Since the involvement of NASCAR superstars Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Justin Marks, the notoriety of the Cars Tour and its competitors has skyrocketed. The racing speaks for itself because it's true, grassroots, hard-nosed late model racing at its best. And we're here to bring that action to light. This is On Tour. Back to On Tour. My name is Buddy Pulley, joined of course by my co-host, lead car store reporter, frontstretch.com, Chase Folsom, or as of course we know him on this channel as Chuck. Chuck, we just saw one hell of a race at Hickory. Tell us, you were there. I'm jealous you weren't there. Tell us about the night we saw at Hickory. That was one to remember for sure.
So yeah, Cars Tour Throwback weekend. Got to represent the merch.
I told y'all, even though I didn't show up to the race, which is, I know, I got the throwback garb on. Obviously, my Sterling Marlin shirt on. It's always gonna be a good show when I got my Sterling Marlin shirt on.
Oh yeah, they had the shirt, and I was like, I gotta buy it.
Mhm.
For about fourth on back for 123 laps was some of the most insane, use each other up, Yankee style FU late model stock car racing I have
Oh
ever.
my God.
That's what it was. Like
I mean, yeah.
nobody was playing nice. Nobody was using manners. It was like, oh, you're in my way, see you, bud. Right.
Yeah.
I obviously there
What
was disagreements.
were they just pissed off there at Hickory and
I don't
they're
know.
getting they're getting the damn teeth shattered to hell? Like
I guess that, or they're mad that the press box is still falling down. I don't know. Um, I gotta stop. That is that is my home racetrack. I'm sorry. I love Hickory. It just
Yeah.
so other than well, they made some upgrades.
That track drives like dirt Bristol the first year.
Yeah. So obviously they made some upgrades. You know, they got the new bathrooms, some new seating in the press
Yeah.
boxes, which is great. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I keep going though. But as for the on track product, don't repave the track because it's great.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's in a really unique spot. I don't know if this has something to do with the way it was repaved, but it wears tires because it's abrasive, but it's not one of those tracks where you have to like fall back and save and then come back like a New River or a Langley. Like it it's really unique in the fact that doing that doesn't help at Hickory.
That's weird.
You just kind of gotta send it.
That's weird. That's
It's
real
really
weird.
weird. I've had that conversation with multiple people actually about how like Langley's a less abrasive racetrack than Hickory is, but at Hickory you don't save tires. You just
I
go.
guess you know what it
I think
might
it has to do
be?
with banking.
I think it also just might be. I mean, it's like no matter where you're gonna run, you're gonna wear the same.
Yeah.
Like you're fighting the racetrack most of the time. So
Oh yeah. And that surface is really old, and I mean, no matter what, you're going downhill into one. People may not know this. It's Hickory is a lot like Wilkesboro. You
yeah,
go downhill into one and uphill into three. So you're gonna be spinning the tires all the way up into three, and you're gonna be hard on the brakes in the one. You can run the second groove. It's a really unique racetrack, and it always puts on great racing.
yeah,
I know we don't talk about the pro late models, but their race beforehand was
yeah.
incredible. And for once, they were the ones that didn't wreck each other. Um, I was
Yeah.
I was proud of them. And then we got to the late model stock race, and there was bent fenders and hurt feelings and
Yeah.
flying Hans devices and
And
fireballs in turn one.
it's quite the night, quite the night. Before we get to the results, Chuck, what was your favorite? This was, of course, throwback weekend. What was your favorite throwback that we saw out there?
So I'm gonna give two because
Okay.
there were so many. I'll let you. We can go each
All right.
one for.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't want to steal yours. So I know this is going to be a topic of conversation all night, but that Robert Huffman throwback that Landon had to
Yeah.
Robert's last late model stock win was sick. Like
Yeah.
it was so good. Landon was driving for Carroll Speed Shop this weekend. Shout out to
Yeah.
him. But that thing looked really nice.
Yeah. His was really good. I gotta admit, Buddy Alves Jr. That's one of my favorite Earnhardt Winston cars. It was from the year I was born, 1996. very fitting because the Olympics are in town. NASCAR's the only Olympic break. A lot of eyes on the Cars Tour to run the Olympic paint scheme. I think I'm gonna give it to Buddy Isles, and that's no favoritism for the namesake, but there's a lot of correlation there. But yeah,
For what it's worth, they did finish first and second in throwback voting. So
they did. I
in
would
that
imagine, yeah,
in that order, Landon won, Bunny was second. I think my other one, I like late model stock themed throwbacks on a late
yes,
model stock car. I think
yes.
it's really cool when they pay homage to their own history. So Connor
Wait,
Hall's
hang on. What'd you just say? Hey, what?
homage, huh?
Homage? And they pay homage? Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
Whatever. When they honor their own history, whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Homage. I think it's
homage.
yeah, homage, not home. Who? Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
I said oh. I guess it's ah.
Mm.
We can cut this part if you want.
No, no,
Okay.
it's staying in there. All right.
Nelson Motorsports. So Nelson's first win as a team with Timothy Peters. That was a cool one. I believe that was Orange County in 2013 that paint scheme was honoring. So
Way to go, Rain Man. All right, let's check out the results from the Cars Tour race at the birthplace of NASCAR stars, Hickory Motor Speedway.
Taking a look at the results from a wild Sound Gear Throwback 276 at Hickory Motor Speedway, it was Ronnie Bassett Jr. who picked up his first career Cars Tour win, with Bobby McCarty in second, and defending Hickory track champion Cade Brown rounding out the podium in third. Brendan Butterbean Queen turned a bad night into a solid fourth, with Trayton Lapsevich picking up another top five and fifth. Minnie Tyrell in sixth, Connor Zilich in seventh after winning the spring race at Hickory. Josh Berry in his return to the Cars Tour in eighth, Katie Hettinger in ninth, and Landon Huffman in 10th. Jacob Hefner came home 11th with Brandon Jones in 12th. After the last lap spin, Connor Hall was scored 13th, with Ryan Millington being flagged and scored 14th. Cody Dempster was one lap down in 15th, with Isabella Robusto in 16th, Carson Quapple in 17th, Michael Fossey in 18th, Brent Cruz in 19th, and Mason Diaz rounding out your top 20. After a fiery crash, Buddy Isles Jr. DNF'd in 21st, with Brandon Pierce in 22nd, Andrew Grady in 23rd, Graham Holler in 24th, Connor Jones in 25th, and Deke McCaskill rounding out the field in 26th.
So as you saw there, Ronnie Bassett Jr. scored his first career Cars Tour victory. Poor guy was overshadowed by incidents in front of him and behind him all throughout the race. Landon Huffman, Andrew Grady. I couldn't think of two better drivers to get in we'll call it a kerfuffle with each other, to quote the great Kevin Harvick. They gave frontstretch.com some great quotes. So let's hear what those two had to say about their little on-track incident.
In the words of Denny Hamlin, Landon Huffman, you're a hack. It's no wonder you lost your ride with the 22. You're a trash panda, bud. I don't know what are we doing? We're 60 laps in. We're running for 12. Turn me loose. I mean, for God's sakes, man. Like I know we're racing. I know we got to go. I get it. But when you've got me like that, when you have me sideways, crack the throttle. That's a brand new race car, and that race car's killed. But it's okay, because before he leaves, he will know I'm pissed. I promise you.
I mean, the dude tried to wreck for 30 laps, held everybody up, raced everybody like shit, and then literally just stopped in front of me on the backstretch. I'm not here to wreck people. I mean, he's going to call me a hack. I've watched that dude race for 15 years. I don't think I've ever seen him win one race. I've seen him crash more race cars than I think races he's finished. So, and they spend a hell of a lot of money, probably more than anybody out here. So, he wants to call me a hack, that's fine. I got a couple championships and about 40 late model stock wins that he can suck on.
Now, Chuck, I know what a hack is. What the hell is a trash panda?
Well, Mama said it's Landon Huffman.
Oh,
so,
Mama? Andrew Grady's mama now?
Yeah. No. Google somebody.
I'm telling you said that.
Apparently it's Landon Huffman now.
Mm.
Formerly a certain rodent that lives in the woods, but now it's just Landon Huffman.
I don't know how that exactly correlates, but the response of the century. I got a couple championships and 40 wins he can suck on. That's wow.
That's quote of the year and quote of the year runner up right there.
I think so. What happened to cause all this mess between these two?
Honestly, it was just a racing deal. Mason Diaz was trying to clear Grady on the bottom, exit in turn 2, kind of slid up, pinched him a little bit. Grady had to back out of it, and Landon was already there. He was committed. And when Grady backed out of it, Landon had nowhere to go and drove into his left rear, spun Grady down the back straightaway, he hits the wall. Well, where I was sitting up by the tower in the stands, and I see him get out, and he's walking. I was like, oh, he's whoever did it, he's throwing something at somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if it was Landon. And then sure enough, Landon comes by, and there goes the Hans flying. And I was like, oh, that's not gonna go over well at all.
Yeah.
And then he obviously comes in, gives quote of the year. Landon comes back, finishes 10th. He comes down pit road, and Andrew throws a clump of grass in his window.
That's what happened. Okay.
Yeah, throws a clump of grass in his window. Landon goes and parks. He got in an argument with Carson Quapple's crew chief for something.
Who, Landon did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carson pulled down in front of Landon at like 15 miles an hour off the pace. That completely unrelated.
Hang on. So this is where I got confused when I was so Andrew Grady and Landon Huffman get into it. And then they have their incident. Andrew Grady throws a couple things. And then Landon Huffman and Andrew Grady both have their separate little pit road incidents. Is what I'm hearing.
Yes. So if you,
what the hell?
It's not in the YouTube video, but if you go find it on Front
What's in the water up there in Hickory?
We've been wondering that for a long time. No, if you watch the Twitter video, the full thing.
Y'all been drinking too much of that damn infield pothole water. That's what y'all been doing.
Carson's crew chief and Landon are in a yelling match, and Andrew Grady got in an argument with Jack McNally, the series founder. Probably the last guy you want to get in an argument with.
Yeah,
doesn't have his name on the building now.
I watched the guy argue with a preacher one time. I don't think you want to.
Yeah. So he apparently was trying to escort.
I've only talked to Andrew Grady once or twice. First thing from preacher, so I don't.
Yeah, he's a character, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Jack was attempting to escort Andrew back to his hauler. They got in an argument, and Andrew shoves Jack. Jack ends up on the ground.
Yeah.
That is how the 77 team got involved, the Chad Bryant Racing team for Trayton Lapsevich, because they jumped in and were like, hey, no, that ain't right, and tried to break it up, and it started the fight. So, and apparently, after all the talk that he was going to go talk to Landon after the race, he never went and talked to Landon after the race. So, who knows? Yeah. It was a big old mess, and a lot of people, obviously, Andrew's gotten a 3-race suspension.
Yes.
He's on probation just for
throwing. And we'll tackle that here in just a second.
Yeah.
The actual incident itself, I gotta imagine Andrew. He ain't never gonna admit it. We know Andrew Grady. He ain't never gonna admit it. But we got to. You said it. It's a racing deal.
Yeah.
It was not at all Landon Huffman's fault. It was not at all Landon Huffman's fault. That was just a full-on racing deal. I get it. Tempers are high. You're running back there in the mess. But
I mean, if it's really anybody's fault, it's Mason Diaz's fault for chopping him.
Like, he chopped him and really checked that whole mess up.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody to be ticked off about it, it's Diaz. But either way, at the end of the day, it's a racing day. It's a racing deal. Yeah. It's
that
just
happens every race at Hickory. Somebody comes up to and washes up.
We're not here to place blame, but I think it just wasn't right. It just wasn't right. What it did after race wasn't right, and it had to be dealt with. And we obviously saw in the press release this week he was suspended. And just that stuff can't be tolerated. I listened to the Dale Jr. download today, and it was we got a lot of people and a lot of there's a lot of eyes on you, more eyes than there's ever been on the car store right now, and there's a lot of people you're representing, and you just can't have this kind of thing happen. At the end of the day, But
It's unfortunate that it happens. I mean, it makes for great content, but at the end of the day, great content doesn't ever overcome great racing and the integrity of the series.
yeah,
One's a lot more important than the other, and so while these things happen every once in a while, they need to be dealt with and kept to a minimum.
exactly. There's some good news to come out of this though. Landon Huffman, as he was called, a trash panda. He put out a tweet earlier this week saying, "Hey, I need sponsorship help getting my butt to Wilkesboro this weekend." And our very own Chase Folsom tagged Trash Pandas, the baseball team down in Alabama, the minor league baseball team, in the tweet and said, basically,
I said, now's the time to get on a race car.
Yes, exactly. And sure enough, they will be on Landon Huffman's race car at North Wilkesboro. So we're launching this Big Motor Small Blade marketing agency. If you guys are interested.
If anybody needs sponsorship, hit us up. I'll tweet about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I mean, but in all seriousness, it is a great deal for Landon Huffman to at least, what was a rough weekend in front of his hometown crowd to at least get something, have some good come out of it, out of what was a disappointing situation there. Chuck, now you're an avid hunter, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. What do you like to hunt?
Deer, turkey, dove.
If it walks, you're going for it.
Yeah, throw fishing in there too. I guess I could technically be a full
Okay. Did you know it's open season for Connor Hall hunting?
I actually found that out Saturday night. I'm looking into regulations.
Right.
I don't think it's a wise thing to do, though.
No, I don't think it is either. Ryan Millington, Connor Hall, coming down the last few corners of the race, had a very spirited battle, very clean battle. Give it to Ryan Millington. He left Connor quite a bit of room there on the bottom. Obviously, Hickory track champion. If anybody knows how to get around there, it's Ryan Millington. Come down in the last corners, and honestly, to set the stage for you, Connor goes down into turn 3, coming to the white flag, and it looked like, at least to me, you were there, Chuck. You saw it with your own 2 eyes. At least to me, it looked like he just went in there a little deep, trying to get all he could get, got loose, and got into Ryan.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, judging by previous incidents, we've talked about this the past 2 episodes of the show. Connor Hall's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Ryan Millington goes down into turn 3 and 4, last corner of the last lap, and spins out Connor Hall.
I mean, he came from 2 counties back too.
He did. It was I'm going to spin Connor Hall and maybe I get a win out of it. That was kind of the at least the vibe I got. Chuck, obviously Ryan Millington was penalized and black flagged for this. Let's talk about that first. This is not abnormal for the car store. Do you think this should be a black and white call every time, or do you think this should be a case-by-case basis?
I mean, to this point, it has been a black and white call every time. It's happened 3 times in recent memory. Oh God, I could not tell you who it was in the 2022 Pro Late Model race at Tri-County, but race winner was, and what they're not exactly DQ'd. They're black flagged. They're sent to the tail of the lead lap. Happened last year at Tri-County in the Pro Late Models with Gavin Boscheld spun Ashton Higgins and Caden Quapple was awarded the win. And now last Saturday night, I think people can disagree with the call all they want and call it, oh, it's just short track, grassroots racing, whatever. I, for one, agree with it because it keeps the respect factor of the series and it shows that the series is held to a higher standard with the, I guess, the presence that they have in the racing world and the short track world.
Yes.
And number 2, they're consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what we complained about with motorsports officiating all the time is consistency. And they're consistent with it. You can't talk about it. So I don't have a problem with it.
It,
Honestly, I don't think Ryan did either. I think he knew, and he was just
yeah,
pissed.
I I don't have a problem with it either. The only, I guess, devil's advocate we could bring up is past events with Connor Hall. I'll be completely honest with you. Connor Hall, if he doesn't race the way he did at Caraway in particular, and obviously we saw it at the Hampton Heat last week, and there's been other examples throughout the year. But I'm gonna say Caraway specifically to break it down to the brass tacks. If he doesn't race the way he does there, he wins this race. I honestly believe that. Look, it was just hard racing. He pitched it into 3, got into Ryan. Fine. It's the Ross Chastain effect. You've been in this position so many times. Speaking of Connor Hall, you've been in this position so many times that you're just not going to get the benefit of doubt of just roughing a guy up, or just hard racing. You're not going to get the hard racing benefit. You're going to get I've seen this guy do stuff like this before, and I'm going to take care of it right here, right now. I think that's.
I want to
Go
add
ahead.
something
Yeah.
to this factor, and the fact that I think Ryan Millington's frustration came from more than just Connor Hall. Those that watched the full race, not to call this guy out because we love the guy, but Brent Cruz was running around about 30 miles an hour off the pace on about 5 cylinders going.
Rough day for old Brent. Yeah.
He knocked the right front of the 15 in with 12 to go, I think it was, because Ryan came up to lap him, trying to get away from Connor, and Brent just drove to the bottom like there was
Yeah.
nobody there and drove in inside of him. And then
And
they
that's
caught
really that's really when
That's what
Connor
started
started catching him.
Yeah. And then with, I think, 6 or 5 to go, they're side by side, and Brent's in the racing groove again, and it checks up Ryan, and he just about lost the lead there. So I think he's already frustrated.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking about a dude that hasn't won a race since 2020.
Yeah.
At least in the Cars Tour. He
Yeah.
wants to win that race.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you get Connor Hall. And I know I don't think he meant to move him, like you said, but I mean, he has a history of doing it.
Yeah.
So to the guy in the other seat, he's like, okay, well, I'm just the next one. Watch this.
I think, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about the incident with Cruz there, because I think it definitely played into it. I think it was I've unfairly been, hindered in this race. I'm not just going to let it get taken from me like that. And if you look at it just from this incident, it looks like, a hatchet job from Ryan Millington. But if you look at the bigger picture, there's going to be a lot of people who said that Connor Hall had this coming. I'm going to echo the words that Carson said after Caraway, and that I also said after Caraway. Carson spoke of it in, basically said, if you would race me differently, you would have won this race. I then followed that up with, is Connor Hall going to look at these instances of, drivers calling him out and his race type of racing being criticized? Is he going to look back at that walking out of North Wilkesboro on October 19th without a championship? Is he going to look back at this and think what could have been?
Well, because the other thing Carson also said is you're racing for a championship and I'm not. Well, guess what? Ryan Millington's not really racing for a championship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a developing story. Obviously, we've been covering it the past couple weeks. Obviously, Hampton Heat. We talked a lot about him and Butterbean's rivalry. It's just one of those things to keep an eye on, and I think we saw an instance here of what we've been talking about. Of you gotta think of the bigger picture. It's not always about this corner, this lap, this race.
And there's one other thing with this I want to clear up for anybody that's wondering. So on air, Connor Hall was credited with the third spot. He did a podium interview and everything. It was probably about an hour later that they actually scored him 13th. So for anybody wondering why that happened, It was brought to series officials' attention by one, Ryan Millington, oddly enough, and then two, Brendan Queen, who was scored fifth, that there was
two
a
of Connor's best friends.
there was a caution thrown on the white flag lap that was caused by Connor Hall. And therefore, the 17 should go to the tail of the lead lap for causing the caution. Now, you may not have the caution was probably not talked about because you can't really see it. But what the series did is as Ryan Millington crosses the line, they haven't thrown the yellow yet.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they're not throwing the yellow is because that car is no longer the leader because as soon as he dumped the 17, he was black flagged.
Okay.
They may not have shown the black flag yet, but he was, as soon as that happened, he was black flagged. So now they're waiting, whether you agree with this being the right call or not, they're waiting on the race winner to cross the line so that they can then throw the caution and freeze the field.
Okay.
So once Ronnie Bassett crossed the line, they threw the yellow. Connor was third, not counting Ryan Millington. So it froze him in third spot. But then once it was brought to their attention that he was the cause of the caution, they put him 13th and Ryan 14th.
Yes.
And
All
even with all that, he's still got a 29-point lead because everyone else shot themselves in the foot.
That's very true. Let's talk to the 13th and 14th place finishers of the Soundgear 276 throwback race. Connor Hall and Ryan Millington. Let's hear their side of the story.
Really tough racing. I mean, I slid up into him a little bit. I knew I was probably going to get a shot down there. He gave me a little shot. We cleared him pretty good off of that, and I thought I had enough gap built up where I could enter nice and low and protect, and he obviously got back to us, and I thought I had it saved, and, you know, worst case second, but just a little too much, you know, inertia, you know, just I tried to save it, just couldn't drive out of it, so really no hard feelings. It's just I'm kind of getting used to finding a way to come on the short end of the stick.
I had a really good night. I'm happy overall. You know, I think we led 120 to 123 laps of that thing. We had a really good car. It was just a tick too loose. Connor was real good at the end of it there. But, you know, what happened between me and him, I felt like I just got used up, and I wasn't taking it. I just wasn't. So I was making sure he wasn't going to win that race. Don't really have much else to say besides that. You know, I've raced him all year, and I don't know. Tough situation.
As you heard there, Connor said there's no hard feelings. I'm sure that's real easy to say because you're going truck racing, bud. Connor Hall, it was announced today that he was going to drive the number 91 truck for McAnally Racing at Richmond. Big deal for Connor Hall. This is such a good, despite, you know, the criticism he might have gotten, he's a hell of a race car driver, and this is a great opportunity for him at Richmond. Being what, at least the third Cars Tour regular, fourth.
Caden
Honeycutt, of course, yeah. But at least three of the top, you know, 5 points contenders, and Connor Hall, Carson Quapple, and Butterbean all to get top 3 NASCAR starts. This just speaks to how good the Cars Tour is and how healthy the series is and how many eyes are on it, right?
Yeah, he's a wheelman. Richmond suits him very well. Old abrasive racetrack. I think
little
he's
home track action.
I think he's going to do great. So he shocked the world just like the rest of them have.
Yep, Chris Deck he's making them McAnally trucks look real fast. So Connor's going to have quite the bullet there at Richmond. We're going to get a quick word from our partners at frontstretch.com, and then we're going to hear from our winner, Ronnie Bassett Jr. Frontstretch.com is where you'll find all your racing content in one place for free. They have it all from NASCAR to F1 to IndyCar, grassroots racing, and even iRacing. Front Stretch has you covered with daily news for every series, weekly columns, and even on-site coverage at every NASCAR and Cars Tour event. Head over to frontstretch.com, subscribe to their YouTube page, and give them a follow on X to get your daily fix on all things motorsports.
As always, big thank you to frontstretch.com for allowing us to use the content that I get for Front Stretch and all my coworkers like Trenton Worsham, who's at the track with me this weekend on this show. Thank you to them for sending us to the racetrack in general. So if you want to see more content like you've seen in this show or any other NASCAR, IndyCar, or Cars Tour content, head over to frontstretch.com or Front Stretch's YouTube channel, or for Cars Tour specific content, the Front Stretch Grassroots YouTube channel. Keep growing that thing because we gained 300 subscribers over the weekend. while you subscribe there, if you're not subscribed here, make sure you take care of that too.
Please make sure you subscribe here. We got some big things coming out, Big Motor Small Blade. And we need
Absolutely.
all the support we can get.
Thanks to Front Stretch again, as always. And yeah, we get to keep doing this, and it's really fun.
Yeah. And if we get to keep doing this, we get to keep talking about cool stories like Ronnie Bassett Jr. He scored his first career Cars Tour victory. Chuck, real quick, give us a little synopsis of who Ronnie Bassett Jr. is.
Ronnie Bassett Jr. is just about the quintessential family man when it comes to late model racing. He's very quiet. He's reserved. He works on his own stuff. He shows up to the racetrack with his 2 little boys and drives a race car. And
Yeah.
he stays out of everybody's way. He's never in any of the drama. He keeps his nose clean. I can't remember a time that he tore anybody's stuff up. So he's truly the perfect underdog story.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of people that this might be one of those races where a lot of people might not remember who won. And some people might discount it because of the way it was won. But look, like we said earlier, the car store has been very consistent. If you spin a guy out, cause caution, you're going to the back. It's just how it is. And Ronnie Bassett Jr., Richard Petty has one of my favorite quotes. The best you can do on any given, in this case, Saturday, is put yourself in position to win, and circumstances dictate the outcome. Circumstances dictated the outcome, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. was the one who put himself in position to win when that happened. So kudos to him. Let's hear from the first-time car store winner, Ronnie Bassett Jr.
I meet my kids every Monday morning or every night, or we get done racing. They're like, "Why didn't you win? Why didn't you win?" And now they go home and, well, they were here. Finally, tell them we finally won. So I love it. I'm glad they were here to be able to enjoy it with me. And it's kind of cool. I have my mom, my dad, all my brothers and sisters, and it's pretty nice to have a family thing going on and be able to celebrate in Victory Lane again.
So you heard it there, Ronnie Bassett Jr. Like I said, family man. He's just happy to have his boys there and be able to tell him he won.
Yes.
Congratulations to him again. And for anybody that, like Buddy said, wants to discount this win,
Yeah.
he qualified 5th and never ran a single lap outside the top 5.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
And from about lap 10, I think it was, he never ran another lap outside the top 3.
Yeah.
He may have only led 1 lap on the score sheet, but he was a top 3 car all night, and he put it in victory lane. I mean, especially for a guy working on his own stuff, you can't take anything from him. So
Absolutely.
you better not. I'm not
Exactly.
a fan of you if you're taking something from Ronnie Bassett Jr.
Exactly. Like we said, it's just a feel good story, and there's not many people out there who deserve it more than Ronnie Bassett. Chuck, let's get to it. What's your question of the week you got for me?
Question of the week. I feel like this one. Landed on a silver platter. It's so obvious. So Connor Hall officially has, I was wrong earlier, a 28-point lead over Brendan Butterbean Queen, 29 over Brent Cruz. Carson Quapple's now 45 back after his disastrous night at Hickory.
Yeah.
So even though Connor can't get out of his own way, apparently neither can anybody else. So the question is, does all of this catch up to Connor Hall and cost him the championship, or does he close it out?
There's too many races left. I think this thing is not. Carson Quapple ain't out of it. I mean, this thing is not over by any means. I mean, seriously though, you look at it. We got Wilkesboro here. We got Ace. Then we got is it
Wake
Florence
County.
after? Wake County. Then Florence. Then Sobo. There's too many races left in this thing. It's not even close to done. I think there's plenty of opportunity for it to catch up to Connor Hall and him come right back and still fight for this championship. Now, it depends on how strategic his competitors are with and we're just speculating. We don't know that this is going to happen. No one said anything, but it's just a matter of, when things transpire. I think this weekend, this is a great weekend for Butterbean. He's 28 points back. I think this is a heck of a weekend for him to gain a lot of points because he's the only one who has race experience on the new Wilkesboro asphalt. He already won here on the old asphalt. This thing, I don't It's too early to tell, man. Honestly, I think those 4 drivers you just named, I think they're plenty in play for this title.
It's a unique thing. Like the conversation comes up because this is by far the biggest stronghold anybody has had on this championship battle all year long. But at the same time, we walked out of Wake County last year and Carson Quapple had 30 plus points on Brendan Queen. And we were all saying it's over. And then Butterbean won 3 of the last 4. And at the end of the year, it was 3 points. And the entire time, everybody was saying, it's over, even going into Caraway. And then Carson Quapple goes out and runs 12th.
Yeah.
Or 11th. He ended up 11th. And Brendan leads every lap. Like, it really is too early, but at the same time,
this season has produced too much for me to even consider this to be. We saw Carson Quapple ran wherever he ran. Yeah, Brent Cruz damn near blew up. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Butterbean had an off night, and then Connor Hall ends up right there with him. Like, so it's
Butterbean ended up 4th after running dead last at some point. So.
I mean, I'll be damned. Yeah. So this thing, just do not sleep on this Car Store Championship race. It's going to be quite the battle. That will end at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We are finally running the first North Wilkesboro race. Chuck, give us a little preview for the Winter World 175.
Yeah, so we have a stacked entry list. 39 cars on the late model stock car entry list. Oh yeah. Kevin Harvick,
cup stuff.
Josh Berry. Let's see. There's going to be Sammy Smith. There's going to be 3 Lee Pulliam cars because Gio Rogero's running 1. Lane Riggs is actually running a Tom Mercy car.
Wow.
So he's not even in a KHI car. I'm trying to cheat a little bit here because I had it pulled up. There's actually going to be 2 Pinnacle cars because Connor Mosack and Connor Zillich are both.
Oh wow, that's not going to be difficult at all.
No, Connor's running the 82. Well,
which one?
Mosack's running the 28. And Zillich is running the 82.
No!
I caught myself. Oh yeah.
Oh, they can't even keep it consistent.
They're gonna look the exact same.
Oh man, dude, oh god, we're gonna have a hell of a time at Wilkesboro, man. This is gonna be awesome. Biggest race of the year. Biggest race of the year. Are you guys excited?
Oh, dude, I am stoked.
Yeah.
It's 35 on the pro late model entry list.
That's a hell of a pro late,
including Corey Heim and Jeb Burton. So
Corey Heim's back at the Car Store race.
I don't know why. I hope we don't end upside down again.
I hope not either. But I mean, the bottom line, this is going to be a great event. They couldn't have done a better job at scheduling this makeup date. Obviously, biblical floodings in Wilkesboro when we were supposed to run this race. Now we're here. We're ready to go. Look out for Otis. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking. Like he's the man with the Budweiser lizard tie with no shirt. He was born that way. That's how he's going to live. Pretty sure he lives on the racetrack. Look out for Otis. Look out for Chuck and I as well. We're going to be out there beat bopping around. And I do want to give a quick shout out to hometown boy Dylan Wilson. He's putting on.
He's back.
Yeah, of course. It's just going to be
Trash Panda's Landon Huffman car.
The Trash Panda Landon. There's so much to look forward to. And I don't forgot Kevin Harvick's running the damn race too. So I'll be up there. I'll be a little bit of a fan this weekend for sure. But yeah, if you guys happen to see us, please stop us. Let us know you listen to the show, and we always appreciate that. Chuck, anything else you got to say about North Wilkesboro before we head off?
I don't know the exact quote, but Kevin Harvick was talking about it, and he said, we have to have a crown jewel race in our series, and North Wilkesboro is that.
That's pretty much exactly the quote.
That's all you need to know. It's
exactly.
Wilkesboro.
Yep. Don't forget, support your local short track, support the Big Motor Small Blade YouTube channels. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you after Wilkesboro.